Welcome to this video. In the previous video, I explained how to write equations of horizontal and vertical lines. In this video, we will learn how to write the equation of a line, any line, given the graph of the line. To do this, our goal is to find two things, the slope of the line m, and b, the y-intercept of the line. Then we can write this equation in what's called slope-intercept form, substituting the value of the slope m in for the m variable, and substituting the value of the y-intercept for b. So let's get started. As you can see here, we're given this graph. We need to find two things. We need to find the slope, and we need to find the y-intercept. You can do this in any order. To find the slope, I need to identify 2 points on the graph. So I'm going to pick these 2 points right here. I'll call them points A and point B. So how do we get from point A to point B? Well, remember, the definition of slope is the change in your y value over the change in your x. So to get from A to B, first I have to go up 2 units, that's positive 2, and then I have to go to the right 3 units, that's positive 3. So that means the slope of this line is 2 over 3, or 2/3. How about the y-intercept? Can you see where this line is crossing the vertical or the y-axis? If you said this point right here, you are correct. This is the ordered pair 0, -4. So the value of our y-intercept b is -4. Then we have to put all of this information together into a single equation. So we have y equals mx plus b, and that becomes y equals 2/3 x plus -4, or we can simply write it as y equals 2/3 x minus 4. As you can see, the general strategy here is to find the y-intercept and the slope. Again, you can do that in any order, and then substitute those values for m and b into your equation. Let's do some more examples. So as we pick points in order to find the slope, we need to make sure that they land on the places where there are whole numbered points. So for example here, I might pick the point 0, -3, so that I make sure I have a whole number. Notice that this point is labeled on the graph, but it is not a whole number. So I'm going to move up here to this point where I see that it's a whole number. I also could choose this point right here, or perhaps this point or that point. Again, you want to have integer values so that you can count whole boxes as you move from one point to another. So I'll call this point A and I'll call this point B. Again, please remember that the change in y over the change in x is your slope. So from A we go up, that's positive 2, and then we go right, positive 1 units, so that means our slope is 2. How about the y-intercept? Can you see the y-intercept on the graph? If you said that the y-intercept was -3, then that is correct. So we can put this information together into a single equation, and we have y equals 2x plus -3, or simply y equals 2x minus 3. Let's do another graph. So here, I have points here that I can use. I could also use this point or that point. All of these points are valid, and any of them should give you the exact same answer, although you might end up having to reduce your slope at some point. So let's just use these 2 points. So again, our slope is the change in y over the change in x. So to get from A to B, I need to go down 1 unit, that's negative, and then I go to the right 2 units, that's positive. So that means our slope is -1/2. Can you find the y-intercept on this graph? If you said that the y-intercept is positive 1, that is correct. So then we just plug in these 2 values into y equals mx plus b. So we have -1/2 x plus 1, and that's our final answer. Let's do one more graph. This one's a little bit smaller, might be a little bit harder to see, but it looks to me like it's crossing our at a whole number right here and also right here. So those are the 2 points that I'm going to use. So I'll call this point A and this point B. So from A, I go up 3 units, and then I go over 5 units. So that means our slope, rise over run, is positive 3 over 5. I'll erase the notes that I made so that you can see where the y-intercept is. The y-intercept is right here. If you can't see that, it's actually at positive 3. So then we put 3/5 in place of x, and 3 in place, in place of m rather, not in place of x. So we have y equals 3/5 x plus 3. Let's do 2 more examples. All right, so let's look at this problem here. We can take any of these points that we want to. Let's just take these 2 for right now. So what is the slope? Well, again, remember slope is the change in y over the change in x. The change in y is 0, and the change in x here is 1. So 0 over 1 is 0, so our slope is 0. Then, what's our y-intercept? Well, our y-intercept is 3, so b is equal to 3. So remember, we have y is equal to mx plus b, so y is equal to 0x plus 3, or y is just equal to 3. Remember, you could have just recognized or realized that this is a horizontal line, and then remember how to write the equation of a horizontal line. That is an equally valid approach. How about this line right here? Well, we have this point here, and let's say this point here. So what is our change in y? Well, the change in y is positive 3. What's the change in x? Well, the change in x is 0. It's not changing at all. So when we build our slope, we get 3 over 0, which you might recall is undefined. Now let's look at the graph. Where is the graph crossing the y-axis? Well, this line is parallel to the y-axis, so it's never going to cross the y-axis. So it has an undefined slope, and it doesn't have a y-intercept. So how on earth are we going to put it into the form y equals mx plus b? And the simple answer is that we can't do that. What we do instead is we pick some points here and we label them. So for example, this is the point negative 2, 0. This is the point negative 2, 3. We could keep going and label a few more points maybe. So for example, this is the point negative 2, negative 2. This is the point negative 2, negative 5. Do you see a pattern here? If you said the fact that the x values are constant, then that is correct. So you might recall from another video, the way we write the equation of a vertical line is x equals a number. And in this case, x equals negative 2. This concludes this video.